Hello everybody and welcome to another stream. I'm Alejandro, Alexito4 on Twitter and other networks. And this is the third stream that I'm doing working in improving a little bit the scripting, how to call it, the scripting part of Swift, like the tooling around it, it's getting there, it's improving. Been amazing in the last I don't know, few days, few weeks since the introduction of Swift SH. The community has been talking a lot more about it. I've been writing posts about Swift scripting specifically for a while now, and I'm super excited to see this movement come up again. So just to recap a little bit, what I've been doing in the past few streams, it's basically trying to improve the situation of Swift SH is really good, it's really amazing. And let me... It's... As I was saying, Swift SH is quite good, it's really amazing. It's doing things that it's improving a lot the situation with Swift scripting, as I was saying. But I still want to use other tools, like today we're going to be talking about Marathon, for some things of the Swift scripting workflow. The issue is that one of the big things that these tools do and have to do, it's basically import third-party packages magically. So you don't have to import the dependencies manually or anything. You just declare them here with a small comment saying where it comes from, where to get the package in GitHub, which repo and which version, and the tool figure out everything out. The problem, as I was saying, is that SwiftSH has this syntax for it, but if you take a look at Marathon has a completely different syntax that you can see here. So in the past few streams, I started factoring out the logic that parses this from SwiftSH, and I created this package that I call ImportSpecification. In yesterday's stream, what I did was basically get this and integrate it into SwiftSH itself. So basically just getting rid of the same files, because I just moved files. I actually didn't implement that much any code. So I just remove the files from here, and instead I'm importing the library. I already have a PR open for it, so we'll see how it goes. As I said, it's totally possible that Max or the community or whoever, they don't want to do this, but I'm just doing it for fun, to be honest, so I'm just rolling with it. If at the end of the day none of this gets used and none of this gets integrated, I still will have learned a lot, so I'm happy with that. So from yesterday's stream, I finished it with a couple of comments that I wrote here. The first of them was the stream reader. If you have seen the other streams, I had issues with it because it's a single pass sequence, and once you iterate over it once, it's gone. That we kind of hacked it yesterday with going back to the beginning of the sequence, but that only worked when you are reading a file. Go back into a file, but that doesn't work when you're reading from the standard input. That it's something that SwiftSH introduced recently. So I had to ditch that, and basically I ended up literally just having the import specification package just accept a string, and that's it. And I can show you that here, basically, so you are all catch up with the changes that I did. So the parse now, it only accepts a string. There is nothing else that it accepts, so that's it. That simplifies the import specification library, and it makes it work much better with the current infrastructure on SwiftSH. That was one of the things that I discussed yesterday. The other thing was we had these main target dependencies on package lines, which basically was an extension on the import specification that allowed SwiftSH to basically create the strings that go into the package Swift. So it's basically what we have. So I had this on my library, and I decided, you know what, it's not really useful for me. They actually did some changes because there is a bug here, but it's not merged yet, the fix. It's on a separate branch. and I had to copy that, and I realized that, you know what, this is not really part of the import specification, and my theory here is that this is needed for SwiftSH, but maybe other tools will need something different. So that's why for now, the current version, I moved back this SwiftSH, and it's not part of the import specification files here. So that means that the import specification is much more cleaner. There is no more stream reader, and there is no more extension specific for generating package files. That's the current situation. As I said, we're going to be looking into integrating this into Marathon today. So that maybe give us a reason to move back some of this functionality. Maybe not. So that's why I said let's see where we go with this, and maybe it's needed, and maybe. So this is Marathon. I think I've learned that some people like have the links on the chat, which is completely fair enough. So if I remember, I will be posting the links to this. I just posted the Marathon link here, and hopefully that helps you to keep up with what I'm doing here. So let's take a look at what Marathon is and what Marathon does, and let's start pulling it out. So the thing with Marathon is that it has a lot of functionality to help you create this. For example, if I go to my downloads folder, I can Marathon. It's been a while since I don't use it. Marathon create hello world. That creates a script file. It even generates the Xcode project for it, and it allows us to start editing the script itself. And that's for me what makes the difference with Marathon. That's why I still use Marathon, because the interesting thing is that if you go to your downloads folder, you still have only the Swift file. So all this creation of the project, it's just temporary, and it's to allow us to basically use whatever, like use Xcode, use the auto completion, and we can work in an environment that we are really used to. Without this, it's just to work with scripts in Swift. I mean, I know that a lot of people, it just writes without any auto completion and stuff, but let's be honest, like the majority of people is writing Swift days, we are used to work with. And so I think it's something that the tools to help the community with. So that's why I love Marathon, because now, like if I do, I don't know, in the world example here, and basically it's still not perfect, because sometimes Xcode is like, yeah, what are you doing? But now if you close return, the changes are actually saved on this file. Now you can do Marathon run hello world runs that script. Right now, it's not gonna pull down any libraries or anything, but we can see here, oh, that's something that it can do. So as you can see here, we can, for example, pull this. Basically. So now if we want to edit the file, again, we can go open the file. It's just a Swift file, and you can modify it yourself without a big deal. But what it's much cooler is that you can do edit hello world, and that again creates a temporary Swift project and put in code, and you can do things. So again, as I was saying, it's not perfect because the importing of this is done when you run it. So right now you don't really have this, so the module is not there, so you will have to run it again, stuff like that. It's not perfect, but it's much better when you, like, once you have the libraries that you want already imported, the workflow and the iteration cycle is much faster than if you were writing this without any kind of support from. So we can take a look here how this runs. Takes a while, especially now that we are importing stuff, but you can see how it gives us the path where we are, which is my downloads folder. You can see also here how SwiftSH and Marathon behave a little differently. In this case, you can see how Marathon doesn't print anything that it's not part of your. That SwiftSH does it. Like SwiftSH prints the downloading of the packages, the importing, the compilation. You see all this printing there. Something that you may want, you may not want. Probably there is some configuration option that you can pick that, but you can see that there are differences and people may want to use different tools. So that's why I think we should be able to now get this script and run with. And that currently it's not possible. Let's see what it will take for us to accomplish that. So SwiftSH commands you to do this. Open this with Visual Code. And let's say, yeah, now this is a SwiftSH file. And if you SwiftSH that's gonna try to run, but again, SwiftSH is like, well, you're importing files, but I don't have a clue of what this files thing is. And that's, even if we specified here, that's because SwiftSH works with different specifications. What you need to do to trick the system, you need to basically this, but then you take a look what version you want to use. Something that apparently Marathon doesn't need to. So we can see here already the differences between systems. So now let's see if this. You can see already how now SwiftSH is able to pull these files and load them and prepare our script. And you see how it ran it. You can see that the current path that we're printing, it's the temporary path of the cache that SwiftSH is. But that's already fixed in a new version of SwiftSH, so don't judge it. But now we are able to do all things. Now, what we want to do is basically just say, no, I want this. And now SwiftSH works, Marathon works, and any other tool works. Okay, so that's the current situation. That's what we want to accomplish. So let's see what we need to accomplish this. And it's not gonna be as quick. I don't think it's gonna be as quick as SwiftSH. Because the thing that I did yesterday, I already had familiarity with SwiftSH because I pulled out the code. Marathon, we're starting here new. I don't have a clue. So let's read first over all the functionality in case that I see immediately something that triggers a little bit my brain in case we're gonna have. They allow you to run scripts remotely like this, with now SwiftSH also supports, thanks to just, basically it can run scripts from the standard input, so that's fine. And the other thing that Marathon does is that it can make a binary from the script, which is super nice if you want to share it. That's super cool. Okay. Specifying dependencies. See? That's what we are gonna work with. And that's what I was thinking. See, like Marathon has a marathon file, which means that they already have more complexity than SwiftSH. Ideally, I will want to, for example, yeah, so this actually it's fine because it doesn't have any marathon specific thing and it's pretty generic. You just specify URLs. Although this documentation doesn't clarify if you can point to specific versions and stuff like that. I'm not sure even if this allows. That's interesting because if you Marathon doesn't allow to specify which specific version you want, that is gonna be tricky. But anyway, anyway, let's let me pull this down, change to base, something you shouldn't see on my folders. Also, I mean, there is some work projects. Yeah, elite, not for public consumption, but just in case. Let me open a terminal and go. We are here. And again, doesn't have the. Yeah. Okay, we're back. So, first of all, as usual, I'm gonna just create the package. Okay, you can see how Marathon uses many of the on the libraries. Hence. So let's open the Marathon project and let's see if we start freaking out a little bit. Okay, first of all, run the tests and make sure that works on my machine and that everything is fine, because we don't want surprises later. I'm not sure how long these tests take to run. So yesterday that SwiftSH test, because they are end-to-end tests, they take a little to run the typical unit tests. And for what it looks, this one's kind of similar, 11 seconds for one test. But it's fine, they are more integration tests than unit tests, which is cool with these kind of tools. Which is the nice thing of splitting out like the ImportSpecification library, because that's literally it just needs unit test. You give it a string, you give it a file, it spits out the specific. That's it. Have to do any kind of integration. So meanwhile, what is okay? You know what will be useful? Files, box. Want to take a look at what libraries is this using? I'm Unbox, I know that it's some kind of parser, I think. Wrap, wrap was a library, or was it? Ah, no, okay, another JSON encoder, fair enough. Shell out is to run basically a process outside yours with the shell, that's fine. Require optional values, we need. Okay. Ah, this is just syntax sugar for this. Okay, yeah, fine. And releases, I think, basically for resolving released versions from a Git repository. Using releases, you can easily resolve fault related versions from Git repo, either the Swift script or command line. Support both remote and provide convenient API for sorting, filtering, not versions. So you give it a repo and it tells you the version. Say what? So what? But it uses Git under the hood or what? So I guess this is what they use. So they just pick the last release of the one you specify and you just. Fair enough. Okay. Okay, nothing tricky, nothing. The tests are still, but for now. So let's take a look at the Marathon library itself. So time. So first of all, you can see how we have Marathon, which is just the command line application binary, basically, just the binary that you run. But all the logic and everything, it's part of Marathon, which is a typical pattern when you are using command line tools in Swift. I'm not sure if I had a post about it. I remember I was super keen into it, but to be honest, I'm not sure if I ever ended up writing probably the state of it. I think I mentioned it on the argument. No. Yeah, no, I didn't write even the first one. No, that's pretty old. That's quite old. Anyway. Using JavaScript. We don't talk about that here. No JavaScript. I'm joking. I like it, but I prefer to talk about Swift. Anyway, no, I didn't write it, but I remember this. There is a post or there is something about it that I don't remember, but it's basically you create the core functionality. Basically, your whole script, your whole functionality is part of this core framework. And then you basically just have a thin layer, which is what runs it. That allows you to basically, well, to start with, have unit tests more easily, but also it allows you to grab the Marathon core framework and put it in an application or use it in another way in another command line tool. That's a pretty standard way of doing things. But let's take a look. So this is the package manager. This package. Okay. So this is basically our import specification. Yeah, you can see here how this is basically what I was saying before, that we moved into SwiftSH to keep it there. Okay. So the question is, how do they parse it? Let's see. They need it boxer, but I mean body. So yeah, the tests completed successfully, all of them. But let's take a look at so at mm, that's a package. Fine, but clothing line. That is what I'm looking for. There you go. Here we start seeing some parsing. Clothing line dependencies of the file. So this reads the file as a string and it gets it by new lines. And then goes package your this dependency prefix, I guess, is the marathon thing. That's okay. Okay. It gets them and there is something. Basically gets the URL. The URL it can package it. Then with the package URLs, package you and as version. Yeah, see what I was saying. So marathon, it looks like marathon just gets the last version of the package. Okay, so I'm already seeing the differences between the systems. Okay. So on SwiftSH and what I've done on the import specification is that the import specification I can show. The import specification, it has already the name, the dependency name, and the constraint, which is the version, basically, the version that you... Instead of marathon, you just specify the URL. So on SwiftSH and the import specification, you put the specification and the URL is generated. The system goes from there. Here, it's kind of the opposite, where you put the URL and then from there it figures out the specification that you want. Basically, then I'm interested. So name of package, name of remote package. It basically clones. Yeah. You put the URL, it clones it, and once it's cloned, it starts analyzing the package itself to get the name, to get everything. Okay, that's a different way of doing it, I guess. Interesting. So, where are we gonna work? Let me think. Let me think for a bit. Okay, for that. So this is one path, right? Package manager. Pack. So this is one thing, but there is also the add dependency. So first of all, from yeah, this guy. Just dropping breakpoints, keep a trace of what I'm looking at. So it's a useful tip when you are exploring a code base that you don't. So yeah, this is basically the only functionality that SwiftSH has, so it's basically the same thing, although as I said, it works quite in the other direction. The other way of doing it is with a resolve marathon file, which comes from the dependency that it's written, which is interesting because that's flexible, so you can modify it. So I guess John was maybe making it flexible enough so other. I'm not sure if that's the case. But for what we care about, have this result file that reads the marathon file. And a marathon file, I guess internally it parses. And again, there is no versions. So the marathon file gives the dependencies, and then all goes from there. Then the script basically, so the script, once it has the dependencies, so yeah, so they are cloned, and with the clone, from that it creates the package names and the package and all that stuff, and there the script is the one that did. Fair enough. Okay, then I understand what's going on here. I think I understand what's going on. Okay. Let me take a look at this. Yeah, so I think we're gonna need this bit of code. Okay, so what is the plan? Like this. What is my current plan? My current plan is we just need to tweak this function, resolve inline dependencies, because it's the only thing we care. And that's because if you are using a marathon file, you are using marathon, okay? And for now, that's how life works. Haha, I work at a company, how life works. Haha. So, silly me. So as I was saying, if you are using a marathon file, you are using marathon file, period. I don't want to know anything. Now, if you are using inline dependencies, which is what this function is resolving, it means that you are likely also want to use SwiftSH, is what we are dealing with here. So I think the whole point, oh come on. The whole point is that this is not necessary. Which means that when you go here, the line has an import, that's cool. But then this dependency check is gonna fail. So by the time you get here, by the time you get here, the package URLs basically they are gonna be empty, or they are gonna be the ones that they here. Like if you import something else here or something else, and you say yeah, pick this one from here, then of course this one is gonna show up, but then it's not gonna work with SSH. So the situation we are thinking here is basically the one where you only have this standardized import that we're talking about. And again, maybe some people likes to use this and forget about the version and everything. And that is fine, but I think I have the feeling that that's not the direction that we are gonna go, mainly because the Swift package manager it wants the version, which is fair enough because it makes sure that you are dealing with it. Which, to be honest, that's weird that Marathon doesn't do. Because even if it's a script and it's something that it's not production ready, still, I've read many scripts and I don't touch them for months and I want them to keep working after the fact. So, like it's really, I don't know. I prefer to use. But in any case, if some people wanted to use this, I have the feeling that if the tools were standardized using a single import thing, we could just add this on the import part and resolve and basically come up with the import specification from. It shouldn't be that hard to be honest. It shouldn't be that hard, but we will see. For now, we want Marathon to understand. So yeah. So as I was saying, if after this we just get and we go, probably we can do if package URLs empty, then we could import from import. I think that should work. Okay, but before we go there, start. So let's go to I will copy this. But what I'm gonna do can pin. Okay, let me tell package manager to. Okay, got it. What I'm doing now is generate the Xcode project. What I'm gonna do is, before that, I'm gonna basically pin edit enter in edit mode basically path. I think that was the syntax. Okay, now if I generate the package, the Xcode project, not use it by any target. You are right, sir. I always forget. We want it in core. No. Okay, so now I have the import specification available. I'm gonna go to the script manager. That should compile. Should compile. So now the idea first is do a unit test. Twice. Now what are we unit testing? Tests. Valid common throws. Adding and removing local package. One, removing no. Adding no. Basically just want package. Running a script. Health path. Running the script. Well, yeah, if you add it manually. Running a script with new dependence. So the script is import file path. Run it. Add files. This is script. Okay. Okay. Okay, so running a script with. So let me. Wait. Now we can script. Syntax for this. And well, I guess I'm gonna just use. I have the script and create this, I guess. Create file script.swift. Yeah, all of them do it, so I'm imagining like a temporary thing, like the same thing we had on the Swift SH tests. And now we can just run it. So let's see what this test does. This should fail. Yeah, okay. Fails. Fails. It. It fails because pilot code error. The operation couldn't be complete. Okay, that's not really script error. Two, I guess. That's a little non-descriptive, right? Let me just catch the error. Going on. Actually, to make sure this is the one. Anonymous closure argument, not. Yes, sorry. I mean, now that we are here, let's just take a look. So it goes for each line. There is import, but it doesn't have the marathon prefix. So it just goes here, it continues, and empty. So and it's throwing the error build failed. Failed to compile a script, the following error occurred, no such module files. Yeah, that's you can add files to marathon using, that's a super cool error. It's an error that when you are working with marathon, you see it and you okay. Okay, so now we have a failing test. It means that we can actually work on what we want. So let me localize the script to make sure that I can still see a proper error. Okay, so the way what I'm gonna do now, it doesn't work, and I still want to see this error. See, and now I know that it's failing. Because if you don't put this, the print is not gonna provoke a failure, and by default, it's just gonna say, okay, your test passed because. Okay, so now that we have this, it should be easy to go here and say import specification. Import specification parse, and we could pass this, and first of all we could pass the script. That's gonna give us dependency that will actually do this and map. Basically, we need to return a URL. We need to return a URL here. And that's the bit that we have. That's the bit that, as I said, I kept on Swift SH is basically this. It's basically this part. I'm just gonna copy paste it here for now, but I will probably end up extracting and using it. Like ideally this will be extracted out, and then you could go here, and instead of doing this, you could use that. So then Marathon and SwiftSH actually generate in the same way the URLs from an import dependent, import specification, I mean. But well, and actually you can do fire thing, right? But to be honest, I'm gonna no. For now, we can just go. Like, all can throw. Everything can throw here, guys. Everything can throw. Throw, I throw, everybody throws. So what have I done here? So let's recap before running the test. So we have the resolve inline dependencies that basically checks every line on the script file, and it looks for this dependency prefix that it's the marathon prefix. If the problem with our script is that it doesn't have it because we are using the other kind of dependency definition, which means that all of this is not gonna find anything. Okay, valid inline dependency error. We could actually do this to you, and I think it's gonna be more in line to what this. Now we can return. Okay, so if this doesn't find anything, it means that the package URLs are gonna be empty. It means that you are not using the marathon file dependency basically, and then it's where our custom logic kicks in to try to standardize this, which means that now we can use our ImportSpecification to parse the entire script, which is, again, we're parsing the script again. Maybe we should not do that and instead doing at the same time that it's going through this for loop. But I want to first make it work and then see what we can do to improve it. So then once we have the parse that is going to give us an array of ImportSpecification, then we can map that to the URLs directly, which is what Marathon only cares, because Marathon then it creates itself its own kind of application that they call package, which is fine. We can keep that there. And that's it. And if we cannot create a URL, then we just throw the same thing they are throwing here. Okay. So let's go back to our tests that it was failing and see if it works. And it does. And it does. So that's pretty cool. Okay. That's pretty cool. So technically it means that now we could run this and Marathon. It's kind of amazing. Basically what we wanted to do. So thumbs up. So let me write. Okay. So now the question is, that we could use their iteration here. And use this, and that's fine. And that is fine, but we are not reusing these logics. So I don't know what is better, to be honest. I'm gonna just keep it here, because this means that the testable thing works on everything. So this should be fine. Um, check if the script is not using the marathon style element. It's using import specification. Okay. Is it that simple? You think, guys? What if I run it? Run it, nothing happens, right? Can it run a script? Well, yeah, to be honest, I have this script, which is it's the same. I just want to make sure that it actually works, because you usually will have this SwiftSH thing here, so I want to make sure that it. So to try that, let me do. I don't know why I don't have this bind. Wait. I should be able to do arguments. Let's see what this does. That. So we're running the hello world script. If that works. Running hello world script. Pretty cool. Now, just for the sake of it, what if we go here, SwiftSH, and we take this instead, and we put it here, and we run it. Is it gonna work? Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, pretty cool. So like, with a small change, we actually accomplished what we wanted, and that is quite interesting. That is super cool, to be honest. Okay. So now the only question is, do we move this logic? And I think the answer is yes, but I need to think a little bit about it. Do we move this logic into the import specification package? That's the question here. Yes, because I want to reuse it, but again, see, for example, what I was saying is that actually, if we had this entire thing, like we had before, it wouldn't even have been useful for us, because we actually, Marathon only needs this, doesn't need all of this, because they do it themselves, to be honest, because the requirement, it doesn't come from there. So yeah, it would be nice to make a deeper integration with Marathon, to actually be able to specify the version and use that, but that will require deeper changes, and well, I'm not sure if that's what we actually want or not. So yeah, for now it wouldn't have make sense, which is cool because it means that by having this in SwiftSH, that was the right decision. That was the right decision, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I think we're gonna take a small break before we continue to go to get some water and stuff like that, and then we are gonna continue. We're gonna continue with this and try to make these final changes that we need to that we actually need to make a proper PR, basically. Okay. So yeah, see you in a bit. Okay, and we are back. So let's continue with what I was saying, that I would like to pull the actual creation of the dependency into the import specification. So basically what I need for that, I'm not gonna touch SwiftSH, but I'm gonna leave a note here. I move the creation of the URL into import specific sh. Okay, but for now we can close this, and instead we can out here and we can go we can create. I'm gonna just do it here. There is no point on making a different file for it. If we had the whole thing, yes, I will make a, as I had already, like an import specification extension for the package. But I don't think there is a point on that. So let me get this and let me do extension on import specification that it should be public. And how shall we call this? How does Marathon call it? Marathon calls the package URL, yes, but we don't use this probably dependency URL. Yeah. So dependency URL, the URL. Should it be nullable? Probably yes. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to make an extension because I need to import foundation. I don't really want to import foundation for file because it's just like pure data that doesn't need foundation. Import plus a plus URL. Oh damn! Oh, that's gonna break. No, it's on the right place. So we can do. And that will get this compiling. Okay, and now. This error, it will be. We'll just. We don't have any specific error, and I mean, you ask for dependency URL and it's nil, you know that it's because we haven't been able to create it. So I don't think there is a point of making a specific error for that. So this compiles. That's cool. I should write some unit tests for it. Let me check one thing because I'm not sure when this happens. Dependency. Let me. Okay, so yeah, if the dependency name is already a URL, it just uses this, and if it's not, it uses GitHub by default. Okay, that's. You write the unit. Is there anything that I should? Right, that. Okay. So let's get this and write some tests for it. Test old what is host domain Hold on. So what I'm testing here is that if we make an import application with an import name, da, da, da. So if we name, so saying that if we have this in no a version, we have a perfect. We have this. I'm saying if we have this specification, I basically said that spec and then URL equals okay. That's the first test. So that's the first, and then we can test uh, test given a URL. Means if the dependency name already URL, okay, that should work. And where else? What else can we try? Basically, we need some failure. We need a failure which basically what cannot create a URL? Empty dependency. Yes, we need a dependency name that doesn't create. Right. To be honest, what can we use to break the URL parsing? Oh, if the string contains characters that are, or if it's an empty. Yeah, but that's the thing. If it's an empty string, it doesn't work because we are doing. Okay, so we need to put URL. So non-ASCII character, reserved character. So can we do? Okay. Cool. Okay, so we have this part done. Now we can go and use it in here. So first of all, let's compile so it picks up the changes we did, hopefully. And now I could just pass. I could pass the dependency URL function here directly, but because I want to return this, I think I prefer. So let's guard that spec. Oh, damn. But it's been. Yeah, it's. Maybe it's not public. Wait for it. Honest, I don't even. Oh. Probably should let people create their own specification. Maybe not. Maybe it's better if we parse it. Yes. Like this for now. So now we should be able to go here. Get rid of this. Change the spec. Egg. No, I mean dependency URL. Maybe file. Maybe it's because it's a new file and we need to generate again the Xcode project. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? We're compiling. Look for we did. So at least now we see that. Hopefully me works. Okay, yes it does. Cool. Let's run the test again and hopefully that work. So we're running the tests now that they take a while because I'm running them all. Because all of these are like integration tests, so they take a while. But I'm super happy because we have actually accomplished what we wanted, which is basically allow Marathon and allow SwiftSH to both use the same import syntax for third-party packages and third-party dependencies. And the one that we are using is actually this one from SwiftSH. So as you can see, I have here this file that it's a Swift SH file, and now actually Marathon can run it without any problem, which is super cool because it means that we can now standardize a little bit more the import specifications that we use in Swift scripts, which makes it easy for everybody to start using more Swift scripts and change the tooling they want, and that's super cool. That is pretty cool. So we have failing test. Oh my god. All tests run on Linux. Yes. Sorry. That's super cool that they test verification. That's cool. Yeah, it's what also happened with. I always forget that. Basically, because I'm working in a Mac, Xcode is able to find the all the tests that I'm working on. But if you actually work in Linux, there is no. I think because it's using the Objective C runtime with XCTest, and in Linux that it's not available. So you actually need to specify in an array like here exactly which test they are. So often what happens is that they get out of sync. So you are using tests, you're running tests on macOS with XCTest, and they don't run on Linux. So usually people has a check for that to make sure it doesn't happen, which is cool. So I need to add this one. I need to add it. How do they do this? I want to modify. Add it. For script build failed error. Gonna write it. Hopefully this is not necessary in the future because it's a little pain in the ass and it's error prone. So let's try to run the test again. Now hopefully everything should be green, which means that we can actually start thinking of making a PR to Marathon. And for that I will need to change the mode of the import package, getting out of edit, and actually fix a version here, which means that I will have to publish a new version of the import specification, 0.4 I guess. I don't know. I mean, versioning is hard. Technically you could use 0.3.1 because you are not breaking any API or anything, but it's not really a bug fix, so it's much better to use a new minor version. So that's what I'm gonna probably use. So we're gonna pin Marathon to 0.4 as soon as the test pass. So yes, if you are actually, I know some of you then ask for it, and I know it's a pain in the ass to look for them, so let me paste you on the chat the link to the import specification, which is this project, in case you want to take a look at exactly what it's doing. And again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw them. I will do my best to answer. How long is it gonna take? Things that the test, for some reason, they don't show up anymore. I don't know why. Well, that's what Xcode does for us. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Still, I like it. So it looks like all the tests are actually passing right now. Some of them are faster, some of them are slower, but things are working fine. So let's start taking a look at stage brand. I want to take a look. Because what changes we have done. So we added the import specification URL extension, which it gives us a dependency URL. And then we have some tests for it. Also cool. This will mean that eventually we can go to Swift SH and change it to reuse this part of our code, which I think it's gonna be nice. Because I imagine, well, no, because it defaults to hub. If you want something else, you can actually specify it yourself. So I was gonna say, I imagine in the future we support more things than GitHub, but it actually already does. So yeah, that's fine. And this thing keeps running. Taking a while to run all the tests, but I want to make sure before committing anything or pushing anything that everything works fine. But yes, when this is done, we will need to marathon Swift package and edit port spec, which is gonna mean that it's gonna basically, that's super cool. I didn't know before. And if you can put a package that you are depending with package manager in edit mode, and it basically, you can even give it a path, so it puts this here and it seems linked to it, to the local version of that you're working on. So you can actually modify locally your files and your library and check that it's actually working fine on the usage of it. And then so when you are done, you can edit, and then of course you need to make a new version of the file and go for that, which is pretty cool. And the tests are running. The tests are almost finishing, which means that we can continue with our work. There you go, test succeed, so Marathon still works with the inclusion of our new additions, which is pretty cool. Again, probably there are gonna be issues that then we'll need to keep an eye on them, but I hope at least it doesn't break current function. So let's, we can unedit this. It's gonna resolve this bug, but what I want to do actually go to the import specification and the commit here. And push these changes. And push these changes, and you should be able to make these 0.4 and make the marathon thing depend on that. I'm working with open source and making this kind of like working on different projects and stuff. I always feel like I'm doing too many releases, but I don't know. I feel like that's the way of doing it. I implement the dependency role inside for reflect what it's doing. Be able to reuse it marathon. That right? Let's push dependency. We have 0.4. And now we can go here. Go here and check out our package and 0.4. If I run this, it shouldn't work, but because the Xcode project is still pointing to my local version probably. Okay, so now it's using 0.4. Now this, and the thing is that, oh me, I think I pulled marathon without forking it. So I will have to change the remotes. Oh damn, that's gonna be a pain in the ass. And I'm not gonna run all the scripts, all the tests again, because we already did and it takes a while, but I'm gonna run mine. Let's run this one to make sure it's actually pulling the most recent version. Cool, so that works. So as I was saying, this one marathon. So I'm marathon, but the remote here. Come on, Source 3, you can do it. Anyway. Yeah, because I pulled from here directly, I think. So I need to fork this. Forking Alex. So I'm forking. And you died, right? Yeah. Source 3, it works fine, I like it, but sometimes it dies. And you need to resuscitate it like the Phoenix. Maybe it dies again. Oh. Why this? It's to me. Come on. Oi, don't things. Let's try again. Beautiful. Okay. And I'm gonna do this, and I will change the remote a bit. So let's take a recap of the changes we have done here. So we took a look at the script manager, and basically there is this function in Marathon that it's the one that basically resolves inline dependencies. There is a whole other system that works with Marathon files, but I haven't touched that at all. I just changed this one. And here, basically what I did, here it goes through all the lines and it checks for the Marathon prefix, and if it doesn't find any, so if it's empty, it means that you are probably using the SwiftSH specifications instead. So what I go now is like I go here, bam, and I use the ImportSpecification library that we have been written in the past streams to get the dependencies from there, and I just give them to Marathon in the same way that he's expecting. So we're not exactly using the same functionality as SwiftSH, but it's because they work differently, okay? Like Marathon generates the information from the URL, instead SwiftSH from the specification you give it creates the URL. So it's quite the opposite, but at the end of the day, both do the same thing. So I'm here saying check if the script is not using the Marathon style of inline dependency, but it's using import specification instead. And finally, I wrote a test that basically uses this style of dependency, and it actually works. Oh, let me remove this that I used to test the errors. That's what they do here all the time. Fine. So run the test again. That should be fine. So yeah, that's the change we did, and finally I added this for Linux support. So that's it. So integrate to support Swift SH file. And of course now I cannot push to the remote because the remote is wrong. Okay, and we see the test did it. So can I change the repository settings? Why not? Mate. Okay. I'm gonna change the fine. Now Rooster is still struggling, but I technically should have this up to push the changes, right? Publish these runs to GitHub. Confirm again that this works. On resolving. There you go. Now we have this here. So now I should be able to create a repo to official Marathon project with these changes. As you can see, I like it because it's a really small change that shouldn't have a big impact. So should be all right. And with this, we will be able to use different types of. So I think that's it for today. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Honestly, I was scared that it will be a little trickier to work with Marathon, mainly because they have more functionality. But I think the changes that I've done are small enough to not cause a big impact on the library, and also they give us exactly what I wanted. Again, I'm not touching the Marathon file. If people keep using that, like, that's good to them. I just wanted to be able to have basically a script like this that it could be run by SwiftSH by Marathon at the same time. So I think that's everything I wanted to do for today, and I will do the PR on my own off camera, basically outside of the stream, because I want to make sure that it's properly done and stuff. And I will see what the Marathon developers or maintainers, if they want to accept this, and also if it's gonna be accepted on SwiftSH. Basically, SwiftSH, it will keep working if it's not accepted, because I basically replicated their logic, but it's not worth it if that's the case. Mainly because SwiftSH is gonna keep evolving, and if we have to keep syncing that changes, that doesn't make any sense. So, well, we'll see. Hopefully everything is accepted, but as I said in the beginning, if it's not, there is no problem, because I had much fun doing this. So I think that's all for today, and we'll see what next project I tackle, but I would like to keep doing like this, because it's pretty fun, and it gives me like a time box to actually do something interesting for the community also. So that's it. Thank you all for watching. And if you haven't... Yeah, sorry, I was losing. So thank you all for watching. And if you have been in the stream, thank you for being here. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. Because there are more things coming around Swift and programming and this kind of fun stuff that we all love. So thank you all, and have a nice day.